Hey folks, welcome to Is It Really Worth It? I just want to start today's podcast off with a big shout to Tripod Crest, Northampton. You ever want planing services, scaffolding services, civil engineering services, Tripod Crest is where it's at, and they cater for everything nationwide. They've got the transport, they've got the facilities, they've got the equipment, and they've kind of got the men. So massive shout to Tripod Crest. So on to the podcast. I'm here today with a friend of mine I've known for over 20 years, a gladiator, a warrior, and an absolute top of a gentleman, Dennis Palmer. How you doing, Den?
I'm good, mate. Good. Nice to be here. Thanks.
Good.
It's an honour, man.
Then we're going to go through an extensive outline of your career and what got you there in the beginning, where you are now, and we're going to cover a lot of the in-between.
Yeah, that's a bit.
So, so don't be daunted by it. Just, kick back, relax.
No problem.
I know personally your career has been absolutely unbelievable. Not just from one contact sport, but you've smashed out most of them, really.
Just gone from them all. Just changed and sort of evolved and try to get into, get bored, move on. It's not bored. It's just I think I'll try that. It looks good. That's my
bored
mentality.
or mastered.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say. I don't know if I mastered them. I sort of like sometimes you fell out of promoters. Thought Thai boxing fell out of promoter, so I moved to boxing.
Yeah.
Then liked MMA, moved to MMA. I just scoot around trying different things, but spend a long time doing it. Thai boxing's where I'm at.
Yeah.
It's the beginning for me. That changed my life, The Thai boxing changed me as a person, as a kid. That changed me. That made me what I was.
Talking about you as a kid, where did it all begin then?
Well, I grew up, my family's from up north, we're all from Leeds area, rough, tough, all miners, Mother left it about 2-year-old, left me with a dad that he was my hero in the end, but he was a big drinker and life was tough. Growing up around that, and I used to go to school. Probably dad never come home that night. 9-year-old, get yourself ready, take yourself to school. It's tough love, Loved him to bits, but it was a way of life back then. Me and him lived in a house down the village. We moved from my gran. My gran brung me up, and then he took me away. And life changed, and used to go to school and face a fair bit of bullying, and I was very skinny as a kid.
But this is what gets a lot of fighters into fighting the bullies and.
Well, I felt I got bullied there, and then I got bullied at home because Dad would come back drunk and be a bit aggressive with drink, and I used to always know inside there's something in me that's going to fight back. One day it's going to come back, I remember I used to take a different route home from school to avoid bullies, and we did an after school sport, so it was later. And a particular group of kids that always had the sort of issue with me, they were there as well, and I thought, fuck, I've got to go past these. Do you know what I mean? So I went a different route. Well, they seen me and they ended up chasing me. But I ran around the back of there's an old place in Corby, and where I hid, there was a sign. I'll never forget it. There's a guy with red shorts and a guy with blue shorts kicking the other guy in the head. And where I hid, that's where I was hid behind it. The guy that owned it was a guy called Charlie Grieger. And he was a Thai boxing instructor at the time, and he actually came out. He's like, right. I said, yeah. A bit embarrassed, I'm hiding behind this bit. Why don't you come in and try it? I said, no, it's not for me. I'm not about that. He said, come in and give it a shot. He was really persistent, and if I never had that persistence back then, I owe Charlie a lot. He was like, come try it. So I went in, and I've gone in. There's these people in there kicking pads, kicking bags, explosive power, and I'm thinking, wow. Look at this, amazing. So I come back. I went back on the Monday. The way my lifestyle was, and everyone told me, oh man, I never told him because I thought when he's had a drink, he'll want to have a scrap. He's a bit of a tough lad. Yeah. So I went, I joined in, and I went Monday. I went Tuesday. I trained myself on the Wednesdays. I did this, I did that. I trained every single day. 9 months has passed.
So you had the self-discipline already deep ingrained.
I just fell in love with something that I kicked the bag, and I'll never forget his words saying, "Have you done this something before?" I said, "No." He said, "You just can do it.
Yeah.
You can just do it."
Yeah.
I just knew how to do it. I remember going through it, and I'll never forget it. I was walking home from school one day, the same bullies, and I got near my house, and we'd had a bad night the night before with the old man. It was a bit rough, no sleep, getting my clothes ready for school, making my own food, hardly any food in the house. It was rough, tough love. Yeah. It was just the way it was. My dad was an alcoholic, and he didn't know he was, and he had a rough time. Yeah, he's got a kid there that he probably didn't need. It's a fucking pain in the ass, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Looking after a kid. And I remember getting to the bridge near the house, carrying my bag, and they're behind me, kicking me. And I thought, fuck it, was near my house. Bravery comes out, because you're close to your door. I dropped my bag, boom, cracked the one, boom. It's gone straight down. And I was like, wow, you know, I'm over the moon with it. Yeah. And the other kid's like, no, he didn't want to know. I thought, fucking hell, that was...
Great feeling.
I got in the house, I'm telling my dad, but he's pissed. He's not listening at the time. Next day, I didn't want to go to school. I'm saying, don't send me to school, don't want to go to school, I'm going to get done in.
Yeah.
But when I went to school, I never had it. It was totally the opposite.
Yeah.
You know, I always believe anticipation is worse than confrontation, dealing with it. And that's the way I took my life out after that. I didn't get bullied again.
Yeah.
Things changed. I didn't become the bully, but if I was in an environment where there was a bully, I'd clamp him down. Yeah. He'd be getting chinned. And that's the way I run my life. But then I didn't become a bully as such, but I would never tolerate that bullshit ever again in my life. I made a pact that I'm never going to go through that. And it was quite funny because the old man found my boxing gloves. So I've been training about 9-10 months. And I come home from school. I think we're just nearly finishing school. And I come back and him and his mate were in the back garden. He was drunk, really drunk. Fucking found these couple of pairs of gloves in there. I think you're tough to, he'd known I'd been doing Thai boxing, but he's found them just in a bad mood. And I'll never forget my dad had a missus called Josie at the time. She's dead, God bless her. And she's rang the police because me and the old man's had a straightener in the garden. And I've been battering the old man. His mates tried to attack me with a garden rake. Yeah, he's drunk, and I've battered him as well. And my dad's got a big cut over his nose. Yeah, I've got a cut side of my eye. I was on the floor, one of them's kicked me. It was just a mad fight.
Yeah.
And he's like, he sort of took it on the chin. And I sort of feel like from that day I became the boss in that house, you know. I used to tell him, shut up. And he told the line, we become good friends, better. I think he realised he had a man now.
You've grew into a man, yeah.
Grew into a man. I didn't take that no more. But I remember the police turning up. They didn't arrest us because of domestic, but me and the old man's had a scrap over him finding boxing gloves. It was a mad house to grow up in. Yeah, he was a bit nuts back in the day.
So, from a young age with the bullies, you obviously had to go to a club and enroll in a fighting career. Yeah. Where did the fighting career start?
Well, in the very beginning, I got involved in. I never really fancied fighting, but once you sort of find yourself, I don't know what it is. Because dream about being a fighter.
Because where you're from, then,
yeah,
there's not many routes you can go down.
No.
From where you're from.
No.
It's either crime, fighting, or a coffin.
Mate, I've got a lot of friends that have gone to drugs. I could have took that path. I've got a lot of friends that went to crime. I could have took that path. And mate, I was jogging past nightclubs when people are coming out, steaming drunk on drugs, because I wanted to be the best. It's the only thing I wanted to be.
Yep.
And I remember I started fighting, and it was something like, when you get in that boxing ring for the first time, it was a Thai boxing ring for me, but I've gone there, fought in Birmingham, and when you go into that, it's the weirdest feeling ever. It's like I watched the film Saving Private Ryan, and when the bomb went off on the beach, it's like, that funny noise.
Yeah.
When you get hit for the first time with a crowd, it sort of goes quiet and then erupts in your head. It's the weirdest thing.
And you can remember your first fight.
I can remember the first feeling, the first fight, the nervousness, and how nervous I was. And I'm sitting in the change room thinking, what the fuck am I doing here? Why am I here? Why did I? And I'm saying to my mates,
what have I signed up to?
Yeah, but I couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
So I'd have a fight. I'm in a bus. I'm taking bus loads of people with me to watch me fight. But Corby used to support me. I mean, a lot of people say a lot of bad stuff about Corby, but
It's a great town. It's a great town.
Corby for me is, it's got its bad points. Everywhere has, but Corby people will bond together and they will stick together and they will back each other. And I always believe for Corby, for me, I always try and put something back in now, and give something back. I started fighting and I'd travel to Birmingham, Manchester, Wigan. They'd come with me.
Yeah.
They'd come with me. I'd fill a bus up. Older boys that don't know, they want to come on the bus and watch me fight. Yeah. You get a bit of a name for yourself because, to be fair, I didn't get beat much. You know, I did get beat. I experienced defeat. In defeat, I never think about wins. I think about losses all the time.
Yeah, well, you see, from what I've known of you, then you will always turn a loss into wins, because you will learn. From what I've watched of you, you learn very, very quickly from the few losses you have had. Yeah,
and a loss to me, I can't sleep. I'm at home. I'm upset. I remember getting beat one of the first times I've been. I don't think I've been beat in years, and I got beat, and I got beat because of my own self. They changed the rules on me. There was a load of different things going on. I've always got an excuse. I'll pull one out the bag. But they did. They changed the rules to kickboxing rules. I'm not a fucking kickboxer. It's Thai boxing. They changed the rules, and I got beat. And I remember going home and crying like a baby because I've been beat, because I'm so angry that this fucker's beat me. And I didn't. And
you probably knew you could beat him.
I knew I could beat him. I just fucking, they upset me. I have to turn up at a fight. I don't know about you, but things have to sail. I have to turn up.
Yeah.
I need my fucking trainers there. I need my food has to be right. My bag has to be right. I need the changing room right. And and I just think things upset me. They piss me off. It gets to me. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather just get the fight on and off and get out of there. Do you know what I mean?
But do you think the upset could be something to do with being totally on cam and on point, ready for the fight? You know, you just want. The way you used to train then, you used to train very diligently and very disciplined. Yeah. So the routine of the night, do you think, if anything wasn't in place,
pisses you off?
It don't just piss you off, it kind of gets you grated for the fight.
Yeah, it does, because I wouldn't miss a run. I don't care what anyone said.
I know
Any of my fighters that I had, I'd be knocking their door early hours in the morning saying, come on, we're going. They're in their beds. And
I used to come over and go running with you.
Well, you're a different runner than me. You can run. I weren't the best at running, but I'd make sure I did it. I did my road work. You know, I'd always do it. And I'd never stop on a run. Because I remember the words, if you stop on a run, you'll stop in the ring.
In the round.
Yeah. You stop at sparring, you'll stop in the ring. Don't make excuses. Just do it. Do it. Push yourself to where people... I always say to people, if you want to be a champion, you got to go where no one else wants to go. Very few people that make it as a champion, they've always had to go to a place that normal people on the street won't go.
Yeah.
To win a title, to go there and be the best at what you got to be. You're fighting against a man. I remember a drunk saying to me in the pub one time, who have you fought? I said, do you know who I've fought? I fought a guy that's trained for 12 weeks, sold 200 tickets. Yeah, and turned up to have a fight. Yeah. I've not fought a guy that's had 8 lagers and fell out the door and sent a haymaker and you've knocked him out.
Yeah.
I fought a guy that sold tickets. That's who I fought. I fought a warrior, a fellow warrior, a guy that's committed to getting in that ring with you. And his intentions are exact same as my intentions. And that's a true fight. In my eyes, that's a real fighter. Somebody goes in there with somebody else and you've got a 50-50 chance of winning it. But if you've got one bit of doubt in your head, you could be beat in the change room.
Yeah.
You know yourself, you could be sitting in the change room and you're already beat.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
It's a different kind of breed. And when I went through the Thai boxing rankings, I used to look at it. We used to get a fighters only magazine. Yeah, and I
remember
look
that,
at, yeah, and I used to look at the rankings and see where I was positioned in the rankings, and climbing that ladder.
Yeah.
You know, and fighting for different organizations, and like I'd take a fight a week after another one if I was uninjured. You know, just to try and get more experience, more fights, and try and beat people that I thought were above me. I used to get excited by the fact of fighting somebody. And do you know what? The thing about fighting is, I didn't hate any of them.
No, it's not
people don't understand.
It's not a hate-filled sport.
No.
It's
I had
a respect.
Passion. Yeah, a massive passion for the guy. The cuddles afterwards and have a beer with them. I fought people from Ireland and everything. You know, there might be a bit beforehand where you got a bit of bravado and you don't stare downs and it's aggressive then. But afterwards, you have a beer with them, they shake your hand. It's a gentleman's sport. All of them are.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about the fighting game of it. And you know what I liked? I belonged. I don't know about you, but if you've been to a gym, You belong in a gym.
Yeah, you're a part of a family.
Part of a massive family, and that's a massive thing for me. Coming from the background I come from, you know, it was only me and the old man. It was shallow to be involved in that, and you know, bringing that people in, and people look up to you. And it's a massive, massive honor to have somebody look up to you just because of what you do. You know, it's a massive honor. But
Definitely an honor. And people, I think the general consensus is, oh, he's a fighter, or he's involved in fighting. He's got to be a bit standoffish. You know yourself, Dennis. You can go to a social gathering of fighters and be around the most gentle people, the most calm,
you did right.
respectful people you've ever been around in your life. You know, and you know, there's been dues I've been to, and I'm sure you're going to tell me about a few yourself, where you know that the population in the room you're in could probably take out most of a city, never mind a few pubs.
Wow. Yeah.
That's the last place you'll ever see any trouble.
Yeah, you
because
don't need
of the respect.
there.
No, you don't need security. You don't need...
No, it's dead true.
You know, so... Anyway, the Thai boxing, when did you move to a different level of fighting? Because I know you're still going back to Thai boxing through your whole life.
Yeah. Well, what happened with me is I went... I'm not being disrespectful, but I went as far as I could go in Corby. There was nobody.
Yeah.
Charlie Grieger was an instructor, but he come from a karate background. But I thank him for what he did and getting me into the sport. But then I started hearing about this Tony Myers, Tony Moore, you know, these different gyms in Manchester, Wigan. You know, these people like got big names. So I started to travel. And when I've gone to these places, you're the big fish in this pond here. I'm a tiddler up here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, look at the way that guy kicks. Look at the way he does this. Look at this. Look at... And that's how I learned my game. I believe my game come from there. And I ended up getting a Thai coach called Nick Cowiwat. He come and met with me at a show. He accidentally cornered me. He cornered me from a WKA area title fight against a guy who hadn't been beat 12-0. I was sitting on the same record, 12-0. And he kicked the legs off me first round. Absolute kick. I couldn't even put weight on him for 3 weeks afterwards. I couldn't get in a car because he'd smashed my legs. I couldn't bend my leg to get in a car.
Wow.
But I remember sitting down at the end of the first round and I looked at my shin where I blocked it. And the Thai guy pulled my leg in to stop me looking at it. There was a huge, like a tennis ball on my shin with a split in it. And I thought, I've got 4 rounds because I tilted it back out and seen it. And he's like, just don't kick, just pump, punch. And the fight went the 5 rounds of hell. And they got the WKA Fight of the Year.
Wow.
We got WKA Fight of the Year. That's what we got. I can't remember the guy's name, Mark Russell.
So it was a real fight.
It was a war, mate, but it was that close. If they'd have given it to him, I wouldn't have argued. You know, it was a close fight. Yeah. He went on to become multiple British champion as well. He was a good fighter. I bumped into some show and he just won another British title. But from that fight there, I'd take a couple of fights, take another title, take another fight, take another title. And I remember a promoter ringing me up one day, and there was a guy called Barry Williams at the time that had a lot of fights and he hadn't been beat. He was fit as a fiddle. Well, this guy had pulled out on him, and he said, "Are you interested in taking this fight with Barry?" And I'm going to be straight with you. I'd had a break. I hadn't really been training. I've been out with the mates and having a few beers and stuff. Like that. I said, "Fuck it, go on." And you know what I'm like? I'm a bit daft. So I'm fighting a guy that's unbeaten, but I knew I could beat him. But he was very, very strong, very durable. And I fought him on a Tower Ballroom, big, massive show, a couple of thousand people. It was on TV in them days, whatever television show they put it on, but it was on there. I said to the guy, "Look, I'm going to struggle."
In Blackpool?
No, it's in Tower Ballrooms in Birmingham.
Oh, yeah.
Huge shows in Birmingham. That was the biggest ones with the WMTO. But they said to me, "Don't worry about the weight. Because you took it short notice, don't worry about the weight." I said, right. So when I went down, he said, "You've got to come down to the weigh-in the day before." I said, "What's the point?" He said, "Just have to do it for the officials." When I got there, the bastards made me skip it off. I skipped in Chatterbox for over an hour in front of Caligas heaters to lose the weight. I was drained. Them Caligas heaters tightened my lungs up. I said, "You fly fuck." He said, "It's not my fault. The other officials there, they made it go." But anyway, I turned up the next day for the fight. Guy, he's unbeaten as well. And I thought, Jesus, I'm knackered. I was knackered, man. I wasn't
Sucked
fit.
out.
My legs were sore through skipping because I only did one run and my legs were that sore. I couldn't run again. because I hadn't been training properly. So it's one of the only fights I've ever gone at unfit.
Yeah.
But it's just because it was a title shot. It's like a magpie with that bling for that gold. Yeah, so I turned up, and if he had been clever, he'd have beat me. But he didn't. He followed me. He didn't cut me off. He followed me. I back-footed him, front kick, back foot punch, back foot. We had a massive, good fight. I beat him. So I beat him, and I won that title. And then we went into an 8-man eliminator. I won another title, and then and then I won a British title. So I've got 4 or 5 titles now. And then they took me to Ireland with the Great British team.
Yeah.
I started fighting for them on different events, and they took me to Ireland with the Great British team, and I fought a guy out there called Peter O'Carroll, real tough, ginger-headed lad. Really, really tough. And I remember being in the change room out there, and the guy was saying to me, like, who are you fighting tonight? I said, Peter O'Carroll. He said, Jesus Christ, watch his right hand. He'll knock any man out with his right hand. I thought, fucking hell, really? Didn't know much about him. He said, yeah, he's got a big right hand. And it was like a film off Kickbox. I walked past his door, and his door was open. They were just, boom, big right hand. Solid shot. And I remember thinking, I do not want to take that. So when we get in the ring, it's quite a funny story. We got in the ring. It was on TV in Ireland. It looked beautiful on the telly.
Yeah.
But when we got in the ring, the referee took us to the centre, and he said, right, watch that over there, because there's a leak in the roof. Yeah. And the ring's slippy. And he said, and also the ropes, be careful with the ropes, because they've sent the wrong size ropes and they're too big. Oh. So when you lean on
them... It's the worst thing.
When you lean on them, you get stuck. So when I said, okay, I'll come out, started fighting, tapped him a bit, boom, took him off his feet. He's got up, go mad. All the Irish had gone mad. The Irish were threatening me on the way to the ring out there. It was one of the scariest places I've ever fought at the time. And when I backed off, my arm went in the rope that ties the ropes together, because I leant on it. It was stuck. So I took 2 straight right hands, straight on the chin. But as soon as I took them, I knew he couldn't hurt me. Yeah. Because I took it. I'm still there. So to me, the fight was won there and then. Yeah. But they give me a draw. It was a robbery. I said to the England team guy, I said, why are they taking so long to get a decision? He said, we're getting robbed today.
Yeah, because we're getting blatantly robbed.
Yeah. But I later on fought him again a few months later for the for the European title, and beat him on Sky TV.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so I beat him again and rectified that.
Brilliant.
Yeah. But I fought in Ireland 3 or 4 times, and you never get a win in Ireland.
No, it's like going to Germany and nicking a win there.
Yeah, it's not happening. Even you knock him out, they'll be sort of scooping a draw out somewhere.
Yeah.
But good experiences with the Thai boxing. I used to, that's my life. Still, I'm using this back into children now with the Thai. But then I fell out with promoters over money. It's always a money thing.
Yeah.
They don't pay you much. You fight for a European title for 1,500 quid or something like that. It's rubbish money. Do you know what I mean? It costs you more than that in a training camp.
Yeah. So when did you move to your next kind of sport? Because
what I did was I come down to watch you fight in London.
Oh, at Caesars, yeah.
I come to watch you fight in London, and I come down to watch you, and I says to you, listen, I'd like to get on here.
Yeah.
And you said, well, I'll open some doors. And you had a good win that night. I remember the guy split. He got a really bad cut. I think you cut him in the first round.
Brian Jackson, yeah.
Yeah.
For the British title.
Brilliant fighter.
Yeah, good kid. Very good kid.
But he must have had a lot of scar tissue, because you opened him up with the jab and split his eye up. And I remember you introduced me to Joey Pyle and Ricky England.
Ricky English, yeah.
And you got me on with them guys, and I just... I think I'd had a couple of dabbles with boxing fights elsewhere in Peterborough and things like that. Just had a couple of these odd fights, and then I come down there to Caesars and had the biggest eye opener in my life. Really.
Yeah,
it's the roughest of the rough.
Yeah,
the rules are limited.
Yeah, there was really no rules.
Nah, anything went. You could elbow. You could do what you wanted. They could stamp on people. Yeah, it was a rough old game, mate. I don't care what anyone says. The rougher it was, the better it was.
The more I think the promoters at that time, Dennis, kind of encouraged. Yeah,
gangstery sort of barbaric sort of like fight game. I mean, I remember training for a particular fight down there, and when we used movement, when we got there, I remember looking at the ring, and it was about 12 foot inside the ropes, and I said to the guy,
"No point.
Forget that movement. That's that fight game out the window, because the ropes we're just going to have to go to war." But I always remember words, because you trained me for a lot of boxing fights, and I always remember the words of, "Can you go to the trenches?"
Yeah.
I always made sure I could go to the trenches, go to the deepest, darkest place in that mind and just keep swinging. Yeah. And that's where you've got to go to, because someone's going to break.
Yeah,
Someone's
definitely.
got to break. And, you know, if you just keep sending... I used to train on the pads as hard as I could hit them pads. If I was doing 4 rounds, it'd be 4 rounds of hard hell on them pads. So I knew that when I was fighting, I could send bombs.
Yeah.
I could just send for 4 rounds. I could send bombs no matter what, and I ain't gonna get tired. Yeah. And that was my philosophy with the boxing game. I was never the greatest of boxers, but I could have a row. Yeah. And a lot of people don't like to go to that.
That's right. They don't like feeling comfortable in that deep
elbows,
deep
pushing, forcing, working the body, working hard shots, and like. You know, so I went to the boxing side of it, won a couple of titles down there. I think I won a Southern Area and a British title down there. I remember, Yeah, a couple of big fights. You know, they were massive shows. I mean, there's big money. I remember Norman Butland stopping me in the toilet and saying, "You better win tonight, I've got money on you." Yeah. Must have had a lot of back bets.
Yeah, they did.
Remember Norman Butland with the big gold
big Norman,
suit?
From Aylesbury. Lovely guy, Norman.
Lovely bloke, but he said, "You better win tonight, I've got a lot of money on you."
Yeah.
You know, it took me to the other side, because I remember I won a good few fights, and I got on well with all the guys down there. They knew I'd come to have a row. But I remember being in the Embassy Club at Joe Pyle's birthday party in, what's his name, Pretty Boy Shaw.
Oh, yeah, Roy,
Shaw.
Yeah.
He was sitting there with a guy, and when I was in the queue, I heard him say to the guy, that lad can fight.
Yeah.
And I just think that's a massive thing for me.
What a compliment coming from Roy Shaw.
Coming from Roy Shaw. You know, he said that to another guy about me standing there, and I just thought, wow.
Lovely compliment.
Yeah, I'll never forget words like that in my head, you know.
Yeah.
And after the boxing bits, whatever way it went, I went back to the Thai boxing again. You know, I went over to, obviously MMA.
But all the time then, you were plying your trade in your sport. You were also plying your trade as a security doorman.
Yeah.
So that must have... I'm not saying it must have brought extra sparring, but it must have brought a lot of distraction to a lot of your training camps and, your routine of
Mate,
you know...
Do you know what? I've worked at Door in Corby, I've worked at Kettering, I've done the odd night in Northampton, and I've done Wellingborough, and I've worked about... Corby's a different animal.
It's
Dennis, totally different.
I'm not from Corby. No. I know some absolute great people from Corby. And I'd be confident in saying most of the people I do know from Corby are great people. Yeah. But like you've just said, it is a totally different animal. Yeah. From my knowledge, if you want to go with a problem to Corby and cause a problem, you will regret it.
Oh, you ain't,
you will regret it.
Oh, 100%.
You know, that's from my personal experience then. So I can't, I want you to just give us a better insight,
I started the door in Corby when I was very young. I was about 19 years of age, maybe 20. Very skinny, but had a lot of martial arts fights and a lot of martial arts experience. I worked at a club called Channel 2.
Yeah.
2 doormen, 400 or 500 people. Fucking madhouse. It went off every Friday, every Saturday. I used to be ironing my shirt, getting butterflies, because I know it's going to go off tonight. And I swear on that, it's an absolute mad place. Because what they had
you
is...
probably just finished 12 rounds of sparring in the gym.
Yeah.
Off for 24 at work.
Yeah, off for... In the doorman they had a guy called Tony Tan, his nickname was. And I'll tell you what, he was a lovely man. He was a big man, but he took no shit off anyone. Man, woman, child, it don't matter. Yeah. He didn't take it. He would fucking send his hand at anybody. He didn't care. He didn't risk it. And I remember him saying to me, never ever take them women or anything for granted. Never risk it. Yeah. Because he said they're just as bad. Yeah. He says, get rid of them as quickly as you can. And it was a good learning trait for him. And he actually did a statement a while later saying I was one of the best doormen he ever worked with. And that's a privilege to me. But we run that door there for a while, and then I moved about on different venues. And then I remember a club owner asking me if I'd work the door for him, name your price. And I thought, wow. So I did. I went in at a high price, and he gave me the door, and I ran that door for about 12 years following that. And, mate, we dealt with attempted murders. We dealt with people getting stabbed, people getting their ears bit off, noses. I picked noses up off the floor, and, but I dealt with it differently. There's 2 ways of being a doorman. There's one, and It's you versus them.
Yeah.
And that's the wrong way in Corby.
Yeah.
I used to lead, and I remember doorman, you know Big Stewie McFarlane.
Yeah, I know Stu, yeah.
Stewie put up a big post. He worked the door for me for some time. And
Yeah.
Stewie McFarlane put up a big post, and I always respected Stewie. He was a crazy fucker, but I respected him. And he put up a post saying, the best general I've ever worked for is Den Palmer because he led from the front. And I thought,
What a
fair
statement.
play. Yeah.
What a statement.
From a man like that to say that,
Yeah.
because I would never let them go out and deal with something. And I always said to them at the end of the shift, if you're on a hospital bed, I'll never come visit you. I'll be in the one next to you.
Yeah.
And that's where you'll
a
see me.
statement.
Yeah. I won't come visit you because I ain't hiding out the back. This is it. I'll go and front every single thing. And I used to tell them, what's the problem? Right, then I'll go out in the car park. And I'd always go out and say, no. You know, you're arguing with somebody to the point where, I'm coming in. No, you barred me. I can't let you in. You're coming in. Where do you want to go?
Yeah. They're drunk.
I ain't letting you in. I am not letting you in. Where do you want it to go? You can't come in. Where do you want it to go? Because that's a cut-off point.
Yeah.
And my adrenaline used to be going, and you're nervous. I'm no superhero. I used to get scared on the doors, but I would always front it. And I always felt if I kept it out the venue, it was a better place to be.
Yeah.
But we used to have kickoffs with contractors that had come down from Wales, and I used to practice techniques out in the end. That's what I used to do. It sounds really bad, but I'd get bored of left hooking, so I'd try something different. Yeah. They're drunk. I'm sober and I'm trained.
Yeah. Qualified.
Yeah, but I'm small. I'm not a big guy. So if you've got 10 doormen there, you bet your ass they're coming for me.
They're going to go for you.
They come for me. What do you think? You're tough. I used to always, and this sounds really terrible, but if I felt threatened, I would ask them a question. As soon as he answered it, I'd knock them out.
Yeah.
Because when that jaw's loose, I used to touch it.
Yeah.
And that's what I used to do. They were old days of the door. You couldn't get away with it now because it's a camera side of it.
They're
and
all
you know,
badged.
you take your badge off. They took my badge off me in Kettering in the end. I went to Kettering and ended up in an altercation because it's a crazy situation. A policewoman come running around the corner. I was with Billy Bond, who spoke about earlier. She come running around the corner and she was begging for help because she was on her own. She was all on her own. She's begging. There's kids on the floor, unconscious, being stamped all over. Yeah, it's a big, massive fight. So me and Billy's going around the corner. I remember pushing the guy, and I took the kid's pulse, and I didn't get one. But whether there was one there or not, I didn't get a pulse. I couldn't feel it. And it fucking went off, Sean. It went off. So I beat a couple of these lads up. I put them on the step. Fucking give them we roughed them up. Yeah, these Wellingborough kids got roughed up, and troublemakers, bad troublemakers. Still got the kid unconscious. The ambulance turned up. Anyway, the police had turned up. They've arrested them. Police come out on a Sunday to my house. And at this stage, I'd had a lot of different occasions, and the missus is getting really sick of this, you know, getting in trouble, this and that, fighting, you know, blood on your shirt. Yeah. They don't like it. It's not a nice thing to do, but you're doing a job, and you've got to...
It must be hard for them, though, Den. You know, their partner's going out, and she don't know if you're going to come home.
Yeah, it's a very difficult situation, but I was always under the thing is, I'd rather have somebody else's blood on the shirt than mine.
Than yours, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I'm here doing a job. I'm being reasonable. You're being horrible. I'm straight. I'm not going to hit you for nothing. Yeah. You know, you're being horrible. You started on the bar staff. You've done this. You've done this. And these particular kids had beat a kid up. And do you know the mum and the daughter, the young girl, come to the door with a present for me and Billy. They bring us a present and thanked us with a report from the surgeon saying one more stamp would have killed him. Yeah. He's 17-year-old. Wow. Yeah. His trousers were down. He's lying in a puddle. So the police come out on the Sunday to my house. I thought, oh, fuck, here we go. But then you should be up for some sort of award for what you've done. You saved a kid's life. Took a statement from me, left. I got arrested on the Wednesday. Charged with assault and battery. Yeah, ×3. Wow. Arrested. Dragged through the courts. They took my badge off me. The policewoman never showed up in court for me. She said she was on the dog training day. She never came. You know, she was told not to come as far as I was concerned. Yeah. You know, I think it was an undercut movement to try and get my badge taken off me and this and that. So they took my badge, but, you know, the solicitor said to me in the room, if you plead guilty, you get 6 months. If you don't, it'll be 12 months. I said, I'm not pleading guilty. I don't feel I did anything wrong, and I'm not pleading guilty. And Billy, being as mad as he is, he represented himself. So he's asking me questions. He's asking me questions across the dock, yeah? And it's hard not to laugh at Billy because he's got quite a funny face. So you don't really want to laugh at him, but you can feel it going that way. Yeah, but anyway, the Crown prosecution didn't do their job. And the judge being an old reasonable guy, because I told him at the end of it, I said, if this was to happen again today, I'd do the same thing.
Yeah.
If it was your son, I'd do the same thing. I don't feel I've done wrong. And Billy, there was a police officer that turned up called PC something, whatever. He turned up, and when he was there, Billy asked him a killer question, and I think it just put it to bed. Billy said to him, do you think we helped the situation or made it worse? Just answer that. He said, well, I believe that you helped it and saved the kid's life. He just said, I've had enough, and threw it all out. But that was me done on the doors after them days. I finished. I just thought, it's a losing battle. I used to get messages on a Friday, Saturday night. My son's out tonight. First time he's out, will you look after him? Hundreds of them, not one or two, hundreds. I'd say, send him to me. I'll have a word with him, make sure I know who he is, and I'll look after him. I'll look after your daughter, I'll look after your son. Yeah. And that was, I had my own kids out. I know how worrying it is for people. Yeah. But you know what the problem is now? The police have created, or the systems created, a badging system for door staff. Like you've got now a librarian 9 times out of 10 working your door. Yeah, and he can't even fight himself. It's not about fighting, but it's about being strong in front in everything. Your kids aren't safe.
That's right.
They're not safe anymore.
The whole pub's not safe.
No, because you could put 2 hard nuts on that door. Yeah, I had the hardest door in Corby. No one fucked about in our club. Yeah, because we had a proper men working that door. You got a big, massive troublemaker in the town. I'd bring him in, have a chat with him, make him a doorman. Yeah, yeah. All of a sudden, the guy's got a bit of respect about him. He's working the door for me. Yeah,
and his life's probably changed then. You probably changed that kid's life.
Pissed, yeah, he's out now doing a door, got a bit of responsibility, looking after people. Yeah. All of a sudden, you're responsible for everybody in that club. Now, what you've got is you've got people that don't give a fuck. They don't care. Yeah. They're not skilled. And
they're without an offer like that, that kid could probably be doing a 20-year sentence.
20 years, mate. I've brought that many kids through that should be in prison. Yeah. Yeah, that have done well for themselves, that have gone on. You know, won titles, won this, won world titles even. Yeah. I mean, Liam Robinson went on to win a world title from Northampton. Yeah. He started with me.
Little Liam, good little kid.
He ended up losing his life, you know, for whatever reason. I think he took some made him a lovely kid. And it guts me, but I put up a big statement with all these titles saying if it wasn't for Den Palmer, this is where I started. And it was on his Facebook.
Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful thing to say. He started with me when people he was a computer geek. Yeah. But he turned into being a great fighter and a great man, a nice kid. Yeah. You know, and that's what I think to myself.
Such a shame about Liam.
Oh, it's gutting, man. Absolute gutting.
Such a shame.
Beautiful,
but
beautiful, man.
Going back to you, then, you went from, you know, Thai boxing, you drifted into most contact. You went to jiu-jitsu, MMA, martial arts. Yeah.
I met some 2 traveller lads, John and Tommy Maguire, and I watched them doing some MMA, and I didn't even know what it was, to be honest with you. I didn't appreciate it. Yeah. But I did it, and it's so dominant. And I thought to myself, wow, I've got a 56-kilo guy holding me on my back. I can't get up. And he's rifling shots into my head. And I'm putting myself in the situation now. If this was in the street, I'm fucked. Yeah. Thai boxing's gone. Boxing's gone. Because straight in on your leg, bam, down. You can't stop it. Yeah. I'm at a European level Thai boxing, and I'm getting taken off my feet. I'm allowed to kick them. They're waiting for me to kick them. I'm allowed to punch them. They shoot underneath it. Boom, I'm on my back. I can't get up. I've got no skill to get up. So my mind being the way it is, I'm thinking, I need to learn this. Yeah. I need to learn this.
I want to know a bit about this.
I need to learn this because I feel fighting evolves. I think everything evolves in the world. Everything does. Yeah. And I think fighting evolves. And I just thought to myself, wow, I can't get this kid off me. He's 56 kilos. I'm walking around at 75 and I can't get him off me. I need to learn what this is. So that's what I did. I put myself into it. I got beat up for years learning, and then I took fights and ended up winning 2 British titles in MMA. Brilliant. I got the best fighter of the year. I got 3 Hall of Famers for martial arts. They took me to the Hall of Fame for the working that I put into Thai boxing and my fighting ethics. And I got 3 Hall of Fame awards, you know. A massive honour up there with some big people that have, you know, like all the kids that are massive now in England. You've probably got the best Thai boxer in England, probably Damien Traynor. He's probably one of the best. I used to go train with them kids, and you know, I brought fighters through, James McGlone and Chrissy McGlone. But James, them 2 kids there, okay, they served time, but they come to me, and they would have went somewhere totally different. They didn't come to me.
Yeah.
I know they've made mistakes.
But they've turned it round.
They've turned it round, mate, and they would have not even got that far.
Yeah.
They would have went way back and never pulled it back in. Now, you've got 2 respectful, honourable kids there that sort of like, they've come along with me. James went to Thailand, won titles in Thailand. He's one of the best Thai boxers could have ever been.
Yeah.
Come out of, he was down training with Damien, holding his own. He's just out of prison. He's a good kid, really good kid. You've got to see past what these kids are.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I just think to myself, I went over and I adapted to different sports, and then I bring this sport over, and now I teach it. And then I've got to jiu-jitsu. I'm doing jiu-jitsu now at the age of 51. I'm doing jiu-jitsu. And I won all the competitions in Britain at my level. I think it was about 17 fights, 17 wins in jiu-jitsu. They're not,
wow.
They call them fights in jiu-jitsu, and they are jiu-jitsu fights, but they're not the same as what yourself would know and I would know. We're punching and stuff like that. But the jiu-jitsu fights are still very dangerous, but I beat everybody. And
any contact sport is dangerous.
Definitely.
Because there's contact.
I can't, yeah, it is. I used to go in the level, I'm 50, so I could go in the over 50s, but I wouldn't do it. I go in the over 30s.
Yeah.
Because I'm beating anyone over 50s. Most people are. So I go in the over 30s, and I'm winning the over 30s. And the last one I went to, I put in heavyweight competition, because the absolute, they said, look, there's not enough people in that group, so we're going to put them all together. You go on heavyweights. With guys 100, you can see it on the podium. I'm on podium 1 because I won it. The guy next to me is on 3, and he's taller than me. So they were massive, 100 odd kilos, and I beat them. I just think it's through years and years of core strength with martial arts and this and that.
Discipline.
Discipline, and I just have a freakish power that I just seem to pass them and beat them with this strength. And technique as well. But I think years of imposing this and beating your body to a pulp, and, people say when you get old you ain't going to be able to walk. I think if I wasn't doing it, I wouldn't be able to walk.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
If I wouldn't put myself fit, I probably wouldn't be able to walk. I walk around like I'm a young man because I feel fit.
Yeah.
I can turn up and play a game of football for 90 minutes. I got mates with their kids that couldn't even walk for 90 minutes. They couldn't walk for 9 minutes.
They couldn't walk for 9.
Yeah, it's a massive, maybe. But you keep yourself moving, I'll never give in. I'll just keep always going. And if something else come about, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I just keep evolving with it and just keep doing it. If it evolves, these kids now, we've got such a massive complex in Corby that we could bring these kids through and make a massive, massive impact on the way their lives are.
Yeah.
And get rid of this gang culture and start coming round. And I've got a huge thing going on with kids, and I never charge a child to train. I don't charge it. Under 16, you don't pay. And the simple fact is, when I was training, I used to have to go do a paper round so I could pay for my training. If I didn't do the paper round, I wouldn't be able to go. Yeah. It would have held me back. Yeah. So I'm getting up at 5 in the morning, going out doing a paper round, going to school, going gym at night, doing a paper round so I could earn money, doing a milk round so I could earn money to buy shorts, buy the stuff I wanted. You know, there weren't no backhanders coming my way.
No, there was none of that.
Nah.
We
Different time.
We come from a generation, Dennis, when nothing was given.
No, nothing.
We had to earn.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, it's.
I always think to myself, if that barrier hadn't have been there, I possibly would have went further. Yeah. Because the barrier was there of money, putting a cost on it. So I always say to myself, you got a woman turns up with 3 kids. She's a single woman. Just say she's a single woman. She turns up with 3 kids. I'm going to charge her £5 each kid. That's 15 quid. That's 15 quid out of their meal, twice a week. Just 30 quid.
Wow. Yeah. So then you're opening a lot of kids and you're giving the kids free classes. Any of these kids involved have been or are likely to get involved in knife crime or... gang culture, anything like that?
Corby's got, it's not just Corby, everyone's got a massive issue at the minute with knife crime, and I've been sort of pushing to get involved with schools and try and bring them up. And I approached them a couple of years ago, and I don't think it was big enough for them, so they didn't come back to me. So I started teaching kids probably 2-3 years ago, now free. Yeah. This is with the help of, my gym's now in a church, and I have a doctor, Paul Frost, I have my partner, Chrissy McGlone, and we have another partner called Paul Buckingham. He's a doctor. Paul Frost is the vicar. So, it's mad because I met him. My father died. He buried him. Father was a big part of my life. You know, he made me what I am. I feel. Dad used to always tell me that, "Oh, you're going to get beat today. You'll be getting beat." I've watched that guy. I swear to you, I said to you earlier, I would look for him at the end of the fight to tell him, "I told you I could do it," because he used to piss me off with his, "Oh, you'll be getting beat. I've watched that guy fight." Just to wind me up, and we'd have a big argument over it, and it'd give me determination. He knew what he was doing.
Oh, yeah,
he knew I would create the winner in me. It'd make him come out. And when my dad died, this Paul Frost, he buried him, and he came to me because I never had nowhere to teach martial arts. The gym was outgrown the martial arts side of it. I had a small room. It was no good. So I put a post up looking for somewhere to train martial arts. And he come to me and he says, "Den, do you want to have a look at the Church of the Epiphany?" I said, "No, man, I ain't going to be moving kit about. You know, I'm past that. I want to set up, and that's my unit."
Yeah.
No, you can have it. He said, we don't use it. So it goes up. There's this huge hall. Big. There used to be an organ in there, massive organ. It's got the marble bit in the middle where they used to. Wow. Yeah, and that's how we trained for maybe a year, and then we ended up joining with the church and turning it into a gym. And because of that, it gave us the point where we don't need to charge. So
yeah, you've got
I've done an agreement with them that I don't want to charge anybody. But back in the day with the McLones and like when they first come to me, they never had no money.
Yeah.
I just say, don't pay. I always had it. Don't pay. I don't care. Don't pay. Come. Don't pay. You ain't got no shorts. Chrissy, there's a pair of shorts. You know, I did it to 1,000 kids. Give them gloves, give them shorts. Try and get them interested and get them in to feel the way I felt when you found something like that. And
feel a part of the family.
It's a family clique. And I'm telling you, I've got people with me that have been with me for years. As a kid, I'm going to mention him. I bumped into the toilet when I was working the door. Young lad, big fat lad, long hair, looked like Meatloaf but bigger. Yeah, he'll hate me for saying that. Jake, his name is, big tall lad, and I'm in the toilet, and these guys are kicking him and pulling his hair, So I've gone in as a doorman. I checked the toilets. I said, "What are you doing?" "Oh, no, he's our mate." And he's turned around, "No, they're my mate." I said, "They ain't no fucking mates of yours." I said, "Get out." So I slapped them, kicked them, as they've gone past me. Not bad, just slapped them on the head, kicked them, the bullies. So I stopped him in the toilet. This guy's 20-something stone. He's done a story on it, and it's gone through the church. And I says to him, "Look at you need to come up and see me. I can help you out. You're getting bullied." I changed his life. The kid's been with me for about 15 years. He's about 14 stone, 15 stone, in good shape, awesome fighter. He can look after himself, mate. No one's messing about this kid anymore. It changed his whole life.
Brilliant.
And that's what we've got 1,000 stories like that with people. So now what I've done is I've got the kids coming to me, probably 70 kids. I teach kids with learning difficulties, ADHD, and we try and impose that back into the gym and bring them along, make them be part of something. And these kids are having trouble at school, getting bullied, so I take them to one side. I've even had the bully come as well, so I can have the bully there with them, because the bully's got issues. Yeah, definitely. He's got confidence level issues. That's what's wrong with them. They don't see it. They just think they're tough and they've got to play up to this bravado that it doesn't exist. If somebody was to hit them, they would be the exact same as the person they're bullying. Yeah. They're not tough. And once you get them and you break that hard exterior they're trying to put on, you can build this one up and you break this one down. Yeah. And that's what you do. And then I end up getting kids that don't get bullied anymore. It's the worst feeling in the world. I had it. I used to avoid the way I went home from school so I didn't get bullied. Yeah. And I hate to think of one kid going through that. And I always put posts up. People privately message me every single day saying, "Can I bring my boy to you? He's doing this, he's out of line, this one's being a bully." Parents are picking up on it. I think he's been a bit bad at school, or I think he's getting enclosed in himself, he's getting a bit bullied. So this is what I do. It's free. Bring them. If they need extra, I'll come. And now I've got the schools jumping on me. So Lodge Park have just come. The priest has run, the vicar's run the school to me, Lodge Park. A load of naughty kids, got knife crimes going on. They're coming to me. I took them for a class the other day, MMA, showed them stuff, and they're like, "Wow, this is, how can you do that? How's it so easy?" And I'm telling them, forget about knives, don't be threatening nobody, don't carry it, you don't need it, come to me, be part of something, you're part of nothing. Yeah. You're part of a gang that don't give a shit about you. Yeah, that's right. I said, you go to prison. I've had people come to me. They're leaving you. I've had the people that I'm training go to prison, I'm writing them letters and talking to them, to make sure they're okay. I said, you go to prison, they ain't going to come see you. They don't care. No, they don't care about you. Come to something that means something and do something good.
Yeah.
But don't be that bully. So we've got a massive thing going at the minute. I'll tell you where I think a problem is as well. It's not just schools. And I've said to a police officer the other day, you're the problem as well.
Yeah.
See if them police officers, and I've invited them, not to spar, not to be beaten up, to come and train with them kids.
That's right. Make a bond.
They don't have to be friends because there has to be a line.
There's got to be a line.
There's a line with me. If they mess about, I say, shut your mouth, shut up. You step in line, they step in line. And then I can have a laugh with them on the next minute.
Yeah.
But I feel the policing needs to jump on it, come along, join in a class. I would respect that police officer.
Yeah.
We used to have one called Mark Britt. He died of cancer. And do you know what I mean? That man became best of friends.
Yeah.
Best of friends. It's so sad. What a massive loss. And that man was a legend because he didn't care. He come with a load of criminals, imagine, been to prison, and he'd spar them. He'd stand his own ground. And do you know what? Every one of them loved him. And them gloves of his that he first fought in hang up in my gym now, and they've been there for 15 years.
Yeah.
They've been there. We hang him up, and all the boys know, and they'll speak highly of him.
Yeah.
Because he broke down the barriers.
That's right.
Did a bigger thing
but
than
the
ever.
fight game, Dennis, seems to break down more barriers than any other game.
Yeah.
You know, you've got the rugbies, you know, you can play rugby.
Yeah.
You've got the footballs, but you don't really get the mix of what a boxing
The respect from a fighter
is
massive.
totally different.
Because you're a gladiator. You're a modern day gladiator. You're a man that if you were back in the olden days, you would either be riding into horseback into villages
Into a
and taking
coliseum.
what's yours,
Yeah.
or you would be in a
the
coliseum
having it.
having a row. There's something there that makes you want to do that.
Yeah.
There's something there that makes you want to put your body through. I don't care who you are. You get scared. You're not in that change room. You ain't got fear. Then you know you're winning because the guy's a bum. You've got to have fear in that change room.
You've got to have fear to fight.
Yeah. And I think bringing that endorphins out in your brain gives you a plus to walk home with.
Yeah,
Them kids
definitely.
walk out of there feeling they've achieved something.
Yeah.
It could be the simplest of thing. But I tell people all the time, every single kid should do martial arts or boxing or something. Not to fight.
And I think in a lot of the communities now, with the lack of community centres or an outlet for these young kids, I think, you know, any form of contact sport, you know, MMA, jiu-jitsu, boxing, it should definitely be brought back into the curriculum at school.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think if there was more opportunities, what you're doing, Dennis, is commendable. You know, giving under 16s free classes, that is so commendable, because it's giving them a route away, you know, from the knife crime, from gang culture, from gun crime, because it all leads down the same avenue. But what do you think can be, you know, can we do more along the lines of, you know, like if they don't want to go down the route of a contact sport of boxing or anything like that, you know, what do we need to do? You know, we can always talk to them and we can always tell them, you know, from experience, this ain't going to go nowhere for you. But some of these kids, they're so kind of stuck and they feel they've got no other way out, you know. So, you know, what do you think we can do?
Well, I think if you told me when I was younger not to do something,
you're going to do it.
I ain't listening to you. I ain't listening to anyone. I don't care if you've served it, lived it. I ain't listening. I'm not doing it. But I'll tell you where it goes wrong as well. I remember a teacher coming to me, and this is massive. A teacher came to me. She come all the way up to the class. I won't say the woman's name or anything. She come to the class, and she pointed out every kid that was in there that was bad. She said, they're all in your class. They're all bad. They're in her class, sorry. The ones that are in my class are in hers. And you need to ban them from coming here. I said, no, I won't ban them from coming here. I said, because if I ban them from coming here, they'll be hanging outside there where them kids are over there. Yeah, where they're fighting, getting involved in nice. These kids are enjoying what they're doing here. Yeah, but you're not helping them because they're learning this and they're not paying any attention at school. So I says to her, I'll tell you what to do. I'll give you an outlet. We'll have a chat with them at the end. You stick by it. You've come all the way out here, 7 o'clock at night. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, I'll tell you what you do. I'll give you half a day a week and I'll come to the school. And if they've not been good for 4.5 days, yeah, if they've been good for 4.5 days, I'll teach them for the other half day free. Yeah. So they're getting half a day out of school. That's just giving them a bonus for being negative. I said, no. You'll get 4.5 good days. You're not getting one at the minute.
Rather than 5 shit days.
Yeah. So she says, all right, I'm going to get on. I never heard from her again. And that's where the problem is. She wants to push, but she don't want to go the extra yard. Yeah. I'm willing to go the extra yard free. I don't want to be paid for it. Yeah. I'm doing it for nothing. I'm doing it to help these kids that are getting bullied, that are doing this, that are doing that. I'm doing it to help them. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm doing it for nothing. I'm coming here and I'm telling you, I'll turn up at your school every Friday afternoon or Wednesday or whatever. I'll quit working that day. I'm self-employed and I'll come to you. I have a full-time job as an electrician as well. I'll come to you that day. I'll put my kit on and I'll teach them kids for 3 hours in the afternoon. Yeah, and if they're bad next week, they won't be back. And see if she'd have took me up on that. She'd have been in a different place with these kids.
Yeah, definitely.
Place. The kids need to. Everybody that carries a knife, in my eyes, is a coward. Yeah, just a coward. They've built this stigma up about them where they're tough. And you know what it's like at school. If you hear he's a black belt at karate, like, you stay away from him. He's a black belt at karate, stay away. Carries a knife. Got a knife at school. Stay away from him. And then someone else will carry a knife.
But you see,
he's got a knife.
Yeah, because I was just going to get to that bit there. A lot of them, it is totally cowardice. But a lot of these kids now, then they feel they have to carry a thing because everyone else has got one, and if they don't carry one, they're probably going to end up getting on the end of it.
Yeah, it's a gang culture that's overspilled from cities and came down to the smaller towns, and now we've got this sort of, like, Corby's growing so fast, it's huge. I mean, I used to know everybody in Corby. Now I probably only know the people round about my age and the younger ones that I teach. There's people that walk in the streets I don't even know anymore. And we've got a massive, as everyone has, knife crime. Yeah. But it needs to be dealt with. I know it sounds silly, but if you get caught with a knife on you, you've got one intention.
Oh, totally agree.
Be dealt with from that point there and then. Yeah. There should be harsher actions for having a knife.
But then
my wife's cousin was stabbed to death in the White Hart pub at 21-year-old, stabbed to death. You know, his mother's Esther, she's wrote a book, and the book's done really well. It's been out and she's had sign-in days and things like that. And she's lost her son. But 2 lads stabbed him. 8 years in prison, 9 years in prison. They're out in 4 years. There's no deterrent for you stabbing me. There's no deterrent. The deterrent isn't enough. No. They should make it a mandatory sentence for having a knife on you. There's no reason to have one. It needs to start there. And schools need to be a bit more proactive with what they do. You know, these guys just turn up. Teachers turn up for a wage. The first teacher I've met even wants to push it that bit further is this one now from Lodge Park. She's gone against the police's wishes to bring the kids to me. Brilliant. The police said, no, don't bring him there.
And you'll know, I know you will see a difference.
I've already seen a difference. One of them's come up to me. He was scared because the other kids, 2 kids that didn't turn up because they threatened him with a knife. And he came up to me at the end of the class. He was a tough guy at the start of the class. At the end of the class, he's come up saying, I'm scared. Yeah. I said, that's the bravest thing you said. Yeah. The bravest thing you just said to me is that you're scared. Let me deal with it. Now I'm going to get to meet these 2 kids and I'm going to make sure this doesn't happen. You know, I'm on a level with the kids, and that's how you have to be. You can't be, I get paid for this job and I'm here. Do that again, you're out of the class. It's just an easy way of getting rid of them. Sit them down, chat to them. What's the problem? Yeah. You know, break them barriers down and you'll get past people. You know yourself when you're at school, you'd have certain classes you want to go to because the teacher was good.
Oh, it's cool, yeah. So we're going to go to the class.
Not because he let you fuck about, not because he let you do whatever, but he was down on a level with you and he could talk to you. So he shut the fuck up, or shut up. I don't need to, come on, boys, get on this one, look at this. And he captivated you. You go to a class and I'm not slagging all teachers off because they're not all the same, but I see it that some teachers are just fucking there for a payday. Yeah. There for a payday, and it all starts there. It starts from family. Yeah. You know your upbringing. You can either go one way or another. Statistically, I should have went the other way. Yeah. I should have went the bad way and down the bad route. But something inside me wanted to go this way. Yeah. And now I want to put back in. Yeah. And I've been putting back in for years. I want to keep putting back in and see if I can make a difference. I've got my own kids. You know, I bring kids into the world. We're responsible for what we're bringing through.
Oh, definitely.
You know,
definitely.
you go to a mother and the mother's not bothered and she doesn't give a shit. Or a father, and you're pretty much against a brick wall. If that kid's not wanting to listen, he's on a lost cause. He's got one route he's going to go down. It's going to be in our nick. But if you can save one, you've
done a good job.
A brilliant job. And that's what we've done. As a the Siam Academy, that's what we do. And we've saved more than one, loads. It's in the tens.
Yeah.
It's not the thousands, but it's in the tens.
Well, that's, far more than nothing would have done.
Well, mate, we could have been sitting there saying, I'll give up on that kid.
Yeah.
But I never would. I just wouldn't. They know that, mate, I teach a kids' football team as well, and they've got issues, some of the lads, and, they come to me. They know they can talk to me. I'm going to listen to them. Right, you've got problems, mate, don't worry. I'll sort it. Who's bullying you? Kids listen to me. I'll go see them, say, look, don't touch that kid. He's a good kid. What's he done? I'll make that right. Blah, blah, blah. You know how to talk to people. Yeah. And it goes away. You make the issue go away. It's just turning you back on kids. Communicating and like what you're doing there is brilliant because we're going to be getting it out there, letting people hear it. Hopefully one person listens to something, they might bring their kid along. One person might listen to it, change the way he's going to do stuff. Yeah. You've lived the other side of life. You've had, the sportsman. You've been in the other side, the dark side of it. You've been there. At first hand. Yeah. It's fucking not a good life for anybody.
No, it's not a good life for anybody, and it just shuts a lot of life choices down when you choose that dark path. Yeah. Not just for yourself, but for everybody around you. Your family suffers, your partner suffers, your children suffer. It just shuts so many positive avenues down. Yeah, because there's only one. If you go down that dark one, it's only negative. Yeah. Everything about that is negative. And if you get success in some parts of it, yourself, then you're going to get caught at the end. Yeah, of course you are. And if not caught, you're going to get killed. My dad used to say, they've only got to be lucky once. You've got to be lucky every day. Every day. Police have only got to be lucky once. Yeah. And that's it, they've got you. The amount of fighters I've lost that have gone down the road and they've gone to prison 4 or 5 years, got out, wasted the career that could have been something special for a silly move, a silly maneuver of trying to make a few quid doing this or whatever. And I just think to myself, I've got loads of different kids that have come through. I used to, but society's wrong as well, because I had a kid that years ago and he was such a good fighter, mate. He was brilliant. And his stepfather was the horriblest bastard you've ever met in your life. This guy was horrible. And he told him he was taking him on holiday to Skegness, so we're going away with his sisters. But he lived with his dad half the week. Then he'd go over to his dad's. His kid's 12-year-old. And I took him and put him in a few fights. He's just smashing people. Calm, really respectful, brilliant. So he's going away that week with the stepfather and the mother. So he's turned up at the house, and the stepfather drove off with the car waving at him, and they went on holiday. When they come back, he was about 13 years of age. Wow. The mother was just whipped by this guy and just let him do it, yeah. She was probably being bullied by him, a horrible guy. But when they come back, the kid attacked the stepdad. He had a big argument, got in his face, and the kid, being 13-year-old, trained 13-year-old, it really beat the stepdad up. But not badly, put him down, left. So I ended up in a meeting with social services, and they blamed me for teaching this. Teaching him how to fight. And I said no, and I would not take responsibility. I said, no, that kid. And do you know, at that point there, I said, they moved him away. I said, don't move him. Keep him here. Yeah. I'll look after him the best I can. He can come to me. No. He's getting shipped out. They moved him away. And do you know, next time I seen him, I was working the door in Kettering. He just got out of prison. And I swear to God, that kid listened to me. If I said to him, you're not doing this, you do that, he wouldn't have done it. Yeah. He wouldn't have done it. Look at Mike Tyson. If you want to go back. Customato took him, trained him, kept him out of prison. That was his heavy hand on top of him to keep him on the right route. That man there was destined for prison. Destined for a life all sentence. His life. Yeah. And look what it did to him. And that's a guy that was involved in way heavier stuff than what any of these young kids are. So they're reachable right now. Yeah, they're all reachable. They just need to be. They need to reach back out. They just need to. You need schools. You need policing. Policing's understaffed. Yeah, it's so understaffed that it's at the weakest point. Yeah. But the schools, they need to reach out to people
like me that
And
are probably more on a level with them. Yeah. People like me and other people that teach, not just me, go somewhere else. It doesn't matter, but go somewhere else that's giving you an opportunity to help you. And you could turn things around.
Yeah.
I believe it. We could turn things around.
And it just makes you think, you know, through all of it,
Yeah.
is it really worth it?
No, it's not, mate.
No.
You know that.
Brilliant, then. That's been a pleasure, mate.
It's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Cheers.